In this video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the new Masters of the Universe show, Revelation. Also, I'm going to talk about some of the backlash the show has received. Hey, it's me AP, and welcome back to another video. So, the new Masters of the Universe show, Revelation, debuted last Friday on Netflix, and this is the show that is now been brought to us by Netflix. Has the showrunner of Kevin Smith, who's known for like Clerks and Mallrats, and this is like a reboot, sort of like a spiritual successor show of the original 80s He-Man and the Masters of the Universe show. So this debuted last Friday, and I wanted to sort of like hold off on the video for a couple of days for one reason, because this show has had a super high amount of backlash. It's had some really bad reviews. A lot of people don't like the show as a whole from what I'm reading from the reviews. I mean, this is I wouldn't say a minority. I would say there's a lot of fans who seem to have the same sort of views on this show. So that's why I want to hold off for a few days and not do it so fresh, because there's been a ton of videos online about this topic already, and I didn't want to just dive in straight away. So I thought I'd give it a few days, let things quieten down a tiny bit, and then make a video and just to discuss my thoughts on the show in general, what I think, and what I think about the backlash, and what I think the future of the show could potentially be, if there is a future of this show. So I hope you enjoy this video, ladies and gents, and let's just deep dive into this topic. So before I go sort of like too far into discussing Masters of the Universe Revelation, the new show, I just want to discuss my background as a Masters of the Universe fan, really. Me personally, right, I'm a 90s kid, so I wasn't brought up on the show. I will be totally honest, I was not brought up in the show. My first sort of like look at He-Man and Masters of the Universe was through this film here, the Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella movie, Masters of the Universe, the 80s movie. I watched this a lot as a kid. I'm a big fan of this movie. I know it's like a cult classic. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people say it's cheesy. I really like it. I think it's a really good sci-fi movie. Sure, it's cheesy, but it's just a movie you don't have to take super serious. I love the elements in this, the fantasy elements in this movie mixed with the sci-fi, going to Earth from Eternia. I think it's a really good movie. I think Dolph Lundgren is superb as He-Man, a superb casting choice. I like Frank Langella as Skeletor as well. I really love this movie. I've done like a video essay on it called, I did a show called Movies for Not Knowers. I did a whole like 20-minute episode talking about this movie. I love this movie. I've done quizzes on it before. It's well worth checking out. But this is where my sort of my fandom, my fan craziness started with Masters of the Universe. And since then, I've watched bits and bobs of the old cartoon. I have not watched the whole thing through and through. I'll be honest again. I like to be 100% honest, because I feel like you trip on your own lies sometimes. So I've watched bits and bobs over the years of the series. I know a lot of the show they've actually put on like the YouTube channel, the Masters of the Universe like cartoon. So you can watch the original cartoon on that. I've never watched the 2002 cartoon. It's something I've never got around to watching. It's just one of those as well where it's not really super accessible here in the UK for like buying DVDs. It seems like if you want to buy a DVD of that show, I don't know if it was released on DVD, but I looked on Amazon today. I can't find it on there. Even the 80s one is pretty hard to buy over here in the UK. Sure, you can get it imported in, but if you want to get it for a reasonable price, it's hard to watch. So for me, it is, my background with it is the movie, little bits of the cartoon. I've read some of the graphic novels as well, the ones that have been released by DC Comics over in the last couple of years. I've read bits and bobs of that. I like some of the stories in the graphic novels. I think they're interesting. I think they can also... it's interesting to see a different side of the He-Man and Skeletor stories from what the cartoon was. Because the cartoon was like, it's a kid's show, do you know what I mean? It was made for kids. There was a certain point of this show, the He-Man show. It wasn't heavy. So it was very, very different. I think the movie, similar again, it was a very family-friendly movie, not super like nothing R-rated in this movie. Do you know what I mean? It was very family-orientated movie. Everyone in the family can watch it. So that's what I've got from He-Man, and that is where my fandom of He-Man is really. That's where I love He-Man. I've got the bobbleheads behind me. I've got He-Man and Skeletor here behind me. I even named my band like inspired by Masters of the Universe. My band when I was in college was called Masters of the Radio, where I was inspired to choose the band name after Masters of the Universe because I was such a big fan of it. And you know, that is my background of Masters of the Universe as a MOTU fan. So, what are my thoughts on the new show, Masters of the Universe Revelation? I want to be honest, and I will be honest, and I'll talk about some of the things I liked, some of the things I didn't like. I think just overall, first of all, 5 episodes in, this is not the full show. I think this is so important, talking about everything on this topic today, and I'm totally respectful of anyone who has opinions. If they don't like something, they don't, and they do like something, as long as they have good reasons and they're not just hating it and not liking something for the sake of not liking something. Do you know what I mean? I'm all for criticism as long as it is put down and it is, you know, it makes sense, that criticism. I will also say, before I go any further ahead in this episode, in this video, there will be spoilers. I'm going to mention some spoilers for the first 5 episodes of Masters of the Universe Revelation. If you've not seen the show, I do not want to spoil it for you, so I will give a spoiler warning from now. So if you've not watched it, in spoilers to come for the show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So spoilers are ahead, ladies and gents. Look, overall, I enjoyed the show so far. 5 episodes in, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I will get onto the criticism and the backlash and things I didn't like in a few minutes' time, but look, first of all, let's look at the story. The story, first of all, we see the story. It starts off, you know, He-Man is killed in that first episode to protect Eternia. Then Skeletor vanishes. We don't know if he's alive or dead. We presume he's dead. Then we have basically Teela takes over as like the main character within the show, and then it's a story about them trying to unite the Sword of Power to bring magic back to Eternia, to just basically save the universe, basically. We get to episode 5 and they reunite the sword. Skeletor is not dead, he comes back, he grabs the sword and he stabs Adam again, who comes back from heaven, basically, and he stabs him again, and obviously people are saying he is dead again now. I don't think Adam's dead. I think he is wounded. I think there'll be a way of getting him back. I think we're going to see definitely more of He-Man in this season, in season 1 anyway. But what did I think of the story? I enjoyed that story because it was something different. And if they just had a story where it was simply just He-Man versus Skeletor, it's just going to be rehashes of what come before. And I know it's not meant to be like a direct sequel because they couldn't say it was a sequel to the original cartoon. But it's kind of like a spiritual sequel. That's the way they've sort of labeled it, due to like copyright reasons. So they had to do something different, and they had to continue a story that was put there like 40 years ago in the 80s. So they continued this story, and they've created a different type of story here, which I like. Put in, you know, other members of the team, mainly Teela and, you know, Roberto in the as these main members and at the forefront, and you have the friend, I can't remember her name, the other female character in this as well. You put Evil Lynn, you combining the good and the evil, because you see in this story here, Evil Lynn is left behind after Skeletor vanishes, and she then teams up with Teela and like Man-at-Arms and all the good guys to try and bring back magic to Eternia and try to unite the Sword of Power. So you're seeing the good guys and the bad guys come together, and then they're having to take on another evil threat as well, while this is all going on from Triclops. So you've got like loads of little things going on and really interesting things. I like this coming together of the good and the evil sides of the story, which is really cool. Seeing Evil Lynn turn good in these first 5 episodes and sort of like build relationships with some of them characters you would have never thought she would have built relationships with. I found that very interesting. But I really like that story where they're kind of taking He-Man and Skeletor out of the frame and to tell this unique story. I do think it would have benefited with more of those characters in, but there's a benefit of sometimes, taking a break from the norm and telling a completely new story, and telling this story where, I mean, it's extreme, but it's a story that makes you captivated. It made me captivated. Killing the main character, the main two characters off in the first episode, leaves you thinking, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen now? If the main hero and the main villain are dead, what goes on now? So I'm watching this and I'm thinking, what's going to happen? And I'm in the back of my mind, I'm still like, I know He-Man and Skeletor are going to turn up at some point, because it just seems unrealistic for them not to turn up. And lo and behold, they do turn up again. So we get to episode 5 and we see flashbacks throughout all these episodes of Skeletor versus He-Man throughout the years and stuff like that, which was cool to look back. And we're getting this, the pushing Teela to the forefront as the main character in the first 5 episodes as well. You reunite the sword of power, and as I said, He-Man then takes over the power sword and stabs He-Man at the end. I like that story. I think it was just something new and interesting and fresh. And what is good now is we're only halfway through this first series, this season 1. And obviously they're saying part 2 is going to come later on, next year now it's probably going to be, or maybe later on this year. They've not really given us an exact date at this moment in time, but the fact of the matter is they've told half of this story so far, and it was a very different, interesting story. So now we can get back, hopefully, to, the second part of the story is going to be completely different again. So there you go. First of all, you've got 2 unique stories, 2 completely unique stories, 2 parts of a unique story, which, sure, a lot of us probably didn't expect, didn't want, but I found it to be exciting. I found it to be fun. I thought the animation was very great. I thought the animation was cool, because I know initially on the videos from Kevin Smith, he was saying it was going to look exactly like the original show. And I've been following this show for a while since they announced it, and watching different videos here and different interviews, and Kevin Smith said it was going to be very much like the original. And we didn't get like the original music. The animation is very different. But it looks great. The animation is perfect. I think it really looks good. I like the music. I thought the first time when Adam says, "I have the power," that music is so cool. It's very much like a Lord of the Ringsy, Game of Thrones style of music. It's super amped up. It got me amped up. I liked it. I thought, again, the visuals of it, and you mix in with this really cool animation when he turns into He-Man. So cool. I enjoyed the look of all the other characters. I think the standout characters for me, I really enjoyed Man at Arms. I think Teela was okay. I don't think. Look, I'll be honest here. I don't think she was the best lead character you could possibly have, but for the first 5 episodes and for the story they were telling, I think she did okay in that role. For me, like, standout characters were Man at Arms. I really enjoyed the bits with Man at Arms when he was coming to it. And I know it was very brief moments, but I really enjoyed that. My favourite episode was when they went into with Skurglow, and they go in all these different, like, in the hell. The hell was Endoria, is it called? And sort of seeing all these different, like, visuals in there, like a dead version of He-Man. Teal's got to take on a dead version of He-Man. And then you see Evil Lynn with, who's she with? She's with Urko, and then he's saying, with Orko, sorry, Urko. With Orko, and he's talking about his childhood. And then the other characters are in this other world with zombies. I really enjoyed it. I liked that episode. I thought it was a really good episode. And again, I think the finale of the part 1 of the series, it was great. Adding this massive cliffhanger where you're like, is He-Man dead again after coming back after being dead already in the first part of the series? So it's just a big cliffhanger, and it makes it exciting for the second part of the show. And, you know, the whole concept of the show is to save Eternia, basically. That's what it's all about. It's saving the Eternia, bringing magic back to Eternia by bringing the Power Sword back. And I've enjoyed it, and they are my honest thoughts on the show. I would have liked to see more He-Man and Skeletor. I'll be honest with you, I'm a fan of Masters of the Universe. I would have liked to see more He-Man and Skeletor. I love Skeletor. Ah ha ha ha! Get a He-Man! It would have been great. That would be my one negative, just to see more of He-Man and Skeletor. But at the same time, as much as I'm saying I want to see more of that, I've been happy to see something different and a different story being told. And at the back of my mind, I know we're gonna get more He-Man and Skeletor. I just know it. I think in the second, it may look. 12 months time, maybe the second part of the show's come out, and I'm incorrect, and you can say to me, you were wrong. We're not going to see any more Skeletor or He-Man. I'm convinced the second part of this show is just going to be all out Skeletor and He-Man, and it's going to be the return of him, and I think it's just going to be more ode to the original show and to what Masters of the Universe is conceived of. In many fans' eyes, really. So I think that is what we are going to see later down the line, hopefully. So now I just want to really touch upon some of the backlash the show has had already. On Rotten Tomatoes, or Rotten Tomatoes, if you're American, at Rotten Tomatoes, that's it. The average audience score is currently, as of looking this morning, is 35% average rating. That is super duper low. I think look at the backlash. If you go on any of the videos that Kevin Smith is putting out at the moment, he is being called a liar. He is saying you've ruined He-Man. There's just go to any Kevin Smith video he's uploaded in the last week or so, and you will see the comments. And if you've looked into this topic already, you've probably seen some of the comments about the show, and every YouTube thumbnail at the moment has Kevin Smith crying or calling Kevin Smith a liar. Look, if you want to do that, that is fine. Everyone's welcome to do what they want on the internet. That's fine. The backlash to me does seem super extreme, but I would say this about anything. I think that's just me as a person. I just don't take things super seriously. I was speaking to Sean in the community about this. I was saying, at the end of the day, to me, it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon, and I can understand if you like me just saying that, someone out there is going to say, well, you're not really a Masters of the Universe fan then, because you didn't watch the show as a kid, or someone will say something, because I know that there's that person out there who will say that, and you know what? You're welcome to say that to me, because I don't really care. I don't care. I'll still sleep easy at night. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I think people are entitled to their opinions, and I've most likely done this in the past. I've said something in the past, and I say it now. But I think when you're just hounding someone and hounding the same opinion and the same stuff continuously over and over again, it's just like, come on, just give it a rest. Really, it's just too much. I have seen some of these video reviews on YouTube from like YouTubers I'd never heard of before, but I've been looking at this topic and they've had like thousands of views. And I've seen like grown blokes screaming, like literally screaming, like Kevin Smith is a liar and all this. And it's just, I find it very laughable. I find the fact that people go on videos and comment 10 times over that you're a liar, Kevin Smith, or this show sucks, or this is not my He-Man, Teela sucks, or whatever it may be. I just think, have you really not got anything better to do? Post a review of your critical response, but don't go on like these people who are going on every single video, even videos that are not related to like some He-Man related, Masters of the Universe related. And just like, if you go on like a Kevin Smith video, I think he did a video this week where he was in some sort of theatre about Clerks 3, or there was some sort of like some theatre he was opening. And all the comments, again, they were just all related to the Masters of the Universe show. and it is just like a mob mentality of people being super like nasty about this show. And if you have a love for the show, I can understand it. And maybe, you know, again, you're going to say, but I love this show so much and he's ruined it for me because he didn't give me the show I wanted. But what does, you know, give it a month's time. No one will be talking about this topic anymore. Give it a week's time, probably no one will be talking about this topic anymore. And you're crying like you've got people here crying out like babies and making out like Kevin Smith has taken a dump on you or your child or something, or a family member. Do you know what I mean? I think people take things way too seriously for my liking. Maybe that's what I just wanted to say in short, really. People take things way too serious. For example, look, I could have responded differently to something I grew up with. I grew up with Power Rangers. Power Rangers was something I loved as a kid. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Grew up with it, watched it all as a kid. They have the reboot a few years ago now. Was it 2017 something? And they bring out this new movie. And first of all, I remember when they put out a photo of the new suits. And the critical response from that was just everyone was just trashing the suits because they didn't look anything like the original series. They looked weird, and I'll be honest, I thought they were weird. Maybe I did say something, I can't remember. I honestly don't know. But if it was now, I don't know if I did say something then. But maybe if I said something now, I would not say anything. I think maybe you can post your opinion, but again, having that mob mentality of just boom, 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 critical work. It's just too much. Even when the movie come out, there was definitely bits of it. I like that movie. I did like that movie. I thought it was a really good movie. But there was parts of that movie that I didn't like. I'll say it. I think Goldar, the fact that they made Goldar not the character he was. Goldar in the original series he had this like weird voice. He was like, "Rita, I'm Goldar." Like it was something like that. It sounded like a pirate. But Goldar in that movie didn't talk. It was just basically a monster made out of gold, and it was very different from what Goldar was. He was like a goblin-y like gold creature in the show. Very different villain. I wasn't happy with that, but I didn't do that mob mentality. I know for sure I've never done that where it's like critical comment, nasty comment. I don't like this. I wouldn't. It's just not me. That's not me. Another thing I didn't like. I would have liked more of the original music, but I did like what they did. They put little tiny tidbits of the music. I would have liked more of it. But I like the original score for that movie as well. But I would have preferred to see a few more bits from the show's music to be featured. I think the Zords as well. The Zords looked really poor compared to the original Zords from the show, and if they looked more like the original Zords, it would have made me more happier watching that movie. So there are things there that didn't, reflect what the show was like from my childhood, but I still enjoyed it. And even though there was stuff I didn't like, I enjoyed it. And sure, I have my views on it, but it's just, I think you've just got to stand above all like the nastiness, stand above all the hate and all the negativeness, because there's tons of negativity in the world. And just like, I don't get these keyboard warriors who are just 24/7 going like this and just typing negativity online. I think it is just boredom, absolute boredom. I will say one more thing on this backlash. Look, if you look through Kevin Smith's stuff, he has definitely told a few fibs about this show. He has told a few fibs. He did say originally in interviews and online that he was a big fan, and then he's been caught saying he weren't a big fan. He said in interviews that like this is going to be a full-on He-Man show. So far, look, it's not been a He-Man show. It has been a Teela show. Look, I know that. The show is not He-Man and Masters of the Universe, though. It is a Masters of the Universe show as well. But we all expect to see Skeletor and He-Man. I get that as well. So he has said on like, it's been shown on like Twitter that He-Man is in every episode. It's all about He-Man. The first 5 episodes have been more about Eternia rather than He-Man. So I can get why people would be angry. And I can get why some people might put a negative review out there. And if it's negative but it's critical and there's good points to it, I don't mind. I just hope, you know, a lot of people out there are being negative now and not happy with what they've seen so far. I hope people do give the second part of the show a chance and watch part 2 of this show, because I think there's going to be more to it, and I think the second part of the story is going to be significant. I was so pumped when I seen the first teaser for this show, and it was with the Bonnie Tyler music from Footloose. I want to be a hero. That one, I don't want to get copyright struck. But basically, that teaser trailer was awesome, and that was a misleading trailer because that featured He-Man and Skeletor heavily in that, and that is another thing where I think they did wrong. The marketing of the show was a bit misleading for the first 5 episodes. Maybe as a whole, as a series, it won't be as misleading, and it will make sense come the end of the whole run. And hopefully that is the case. And all I want to get to here, though, is let's just be positive on the internet. Let's pour out our opinions, but let's be nice about it, and let's not do the mob mentality. If you think I'm wrong, tell me a good reason why you think mob mentality and just bombing every single video with the same comments is a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing. It won't get you anywhere. Kevin Smith has said in videos that Netflix don't care about all the negativities, and that says it all to me. They're making money from it. People are talking about the show. They don't mind. They probably actually like it, Netflix. The fact that the show is trending, whether it be positive or negative. It's that thing. As long as any review's good, isn't it? As long as people are talking about the show, they don't care. People are talking it. People are going to watch it just out of curiosity. But I think let's give it a whole season before we can be more critical of what the show really truly is. And from what we've seen, like I said, the teaser trailer, it was full on Skeletor and He-Man. Let's give it a full run before we say, you said it was going to be this, and you give us this. Let's give it time, and let's give it a full run of season 1 before we sprout out more crap. So before I end this video, I just want to say, do I think this show has a future? I think it has a future, sure. Sure it has. If the second part of the season can be bring in He-Man, can bring in Skeletor, what I would like to see is the return of those 2 characters and make the last couple of episodes really truly about them. But also bring in like Teela, bring in Man-at-Arms, bring in all these characters. I want to see all these characters because I've enjoyed all these characters so far. And I think just have a big, the last couple of episodes, just go all in with Masters of the Universe, just what people want to see. And I think if they give us that, I think a lot more fans will sort of like go over to a more positive outlook on what this show is. And I'm just excited to see what they do now, because you have He-Man now who has the Sword of Power. I think that makes it super interesting for the last couple of episodes. You've got Adam as well, Prince Adam. He-Man, is he dead? Is he wounded? Is he going to come back? How are they going to defeat Skeletor? Is Skeletor going to rule over Eternia now? It's going to be interesting, and I'm excited to see what they do. I want to see as much Masters of the Universe content as they can throw out. I know they got another show coming up, a different Masters of the Universe He-Man show, so that'll be cool to see as well. But I want to see I want to see movies, I want to see everything. I love Masters of the Universe, and I want to see just more and more of it. So bring it all on, and hopefully we do get to see a big future for Masters of the Universe. Hopefully we get to see more seasons of this. Look, if we're down the line, if we have like 5 or 6 seasons of this show, imagine how insignificant this first season will seem if we're like 6 seasons into it. Everyone will be just looking back and thinking, why were people so angry about that? So I think hopefully we will get a future. I think it just all depends on, what Netflix have planned for it. I think if they've already planned out they're going to do a few seasons, I think Netflix will do it. Whether it's good or negative reviews they have, I think they'll go with it. I hope we just see it anyway, because I like the show in general. I enjoyed the first part of the show, and I'm looking forward to part 2. If you enjoyed this video today, please do give it a like and check out the rest of my movie-related content as well. And let me know your thoughts on this topic today. I know it's a pretty long video, longer than normal videos on Thursdays, but I wanted to really talk about this and go deep dive into this topic and give you my honest opinions and thoughts and what I honestly think about all this backlash as well. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will see you next time.